Today we're taking a close look at the Keene neighborhood in northeast Portland, right near Alberta Street in Killingsworth. Let's take a look. Today we're in northeast Portland.
In the Keene neighborhood.
To show you around, we're going to show you the bars, restaurants, things to do, and we're going to take a drive through the neighborhood so you can see what the houses look like and the neighborhood looks like. As always, if you're thinking about moving to Portland,
Call us.
call us. That's exactly right. Anytime. One of the best ways to get a feel for what the Keene neighborhood is to just take a drive through the neighborhood. There are a number of craftsman style houses, 4 squares. It's a typical Portland neighborhood. The streets are not super wide, they're not awfully narrow either. It's pretty normal for an established neighborhood. In the Keene neighborhood, there is a mix of houses. There are some that have been renovated, some that haven't. There are some new construction houses here and there, but not a lot of them. This is an old established neighborhood in Portland that has a lot of character, as do almost all the neighborhoods in northeast Portland. Contact us anytime at all, especially if you're interested in the Keene neighborhood or the surrounding neighborhoods, including Sabin, Vernon, etc. I just took a right. We're heading towards Alberta Street. As you notice here, I pulled over to the side to let a car go by. This is something that is pretty typical in established neighborhoods in northeast Portland and other areas of town too in Portland. Some of the streets are not too narrow, but they are a little bit tight to have cars parked on each side of the street, and then to be able to drive in both directions, to have cars going in both directions, that is. We are at the corner of Alberta Street and Northeast 11th, I think it is. There's a radio room on our left. I wanted to point out that this is one of the 2 areas inside the neighborhood where there are a lot of shops and restaurants and bars and things to do. If you were to take a right from here and go west on Alberta Street, what you would see is a restaurant called the By and By. There's an Ethiopian restaurant. There's a little corner store too, where the owner's super friendly. They are known in the neighborhood for having fried chicken and also potato wedges. Those potato wedges are not JoJo's. There's actually a whole story to what a JoJo is and what a JoJo isn't. But in any case, that could be the subject for an entirely different video about the Pacific Northwest and potatoes, which is kind of funny. With that being said, like I was saying, there's an Ethiopian restaurant. There's a vegan place called the By and By. There's a food cart pod. It has 5 or 6 different food carts in it, including wood-fired pizza. There used to be a sushi burrito place that got swapped out for, I think what took its place is a barbecue food cart. Yeah, it's a good spot. The radio room is awesome. The bar is really pretty. They have a wide variety of cocktails, mixed drinks, etc. Of course, beer on tap. The food is good. It is in a location that used to be a gas station. I'm pretty sure it was a Texaco gas station. The owners of the radio room own a place on Killingsworth, which up on Killingsworth there are a number of restaurants and things to do too. There's a food cart pod. There's a post office, and also there's a place called Keys Lounge. Keys Lounge is owned by the owners of Radio Room. They fixed that place up too. So there are actually 2 locations owned by the same people that have a really nice vibe. They have good food, a good bar. I highly recommend going to check out both of those. So those are the 2 areas on Killingsworth between MLK and about 11th or so, and then Alberta Street between MLK, roughly about 9th and 14th. On talking about Alberta Street again, back on Alberta Street, there's a cafe. It's called Case Study Coffee Roasters. There is Pasture PDX. There's a sushi place called Bamboo Sushi, and a number of other restaurants too. Donnie Vegas is there. Donnie Vegas has a bar. They play sports on the TVs. It's a really cool place, and they have a wide variety of hot dogs, chili dogs at one point in time, maybe still. They have a banh mi dog on the menu. So there is a lot to do outside of the house and outside of the residential parts of the King neighborhood too. We're taking a drive south here, heading towards Fremont. And when we get to Fremont, you'll see that really King goes all the way down to the edge of a park. It's a really large park that's actually over in the next neighborhood. Portland is a city where you're going to see a lot of people riding their bikes for fun, recreation that is, but also commuting. There are people who ride their bikes to and from work and get around, go to the grocery store, etc. In that way, it is a place that's resembles more of a European city, say in Germany or the Netherlands. A lot of people ride bikes, which is, in my opinion, pretty cool. So if you're thinking about buying a house in Northeast Portland, what I wanted to let you know about this neighborhood in particular, the King neighborhood, is that there are about 1,850 single-family homes here. We're just talking about the composition of the neighborhood generally. There are 133 townhouses and condos in the King neighborhood. I'm going to tell you what the average sales price is, but beyond that too, I wanted to give you an idea of what the range of the sales prices have been over the past year. The average single-family sales price over the past 12 months, and this is as of the middle of 2024, right at the end of June. The average sales price was $611,000. The minimum sales price was $250,000. The maximum was $1,050,000. Out of those sales, 46 of them, that means 2.5% of what exists in the single family category in the King neighborhood sold last year. There were 7 of them at or under a price of $400,000, and there are 6 above $900,000. The rest of them were 33 sales between $400,000 and $900,000. So when you're living in a neighborhood beyond shops and restaurants and things to do, which is a really huge positive for this neighborhood, you also have practical things such as you're going to go to the nearest grocery store. What grocery stores are there? How far away are they? So I put together a table, as you can see on the screen, but to give you an idea what's in the neighborhood, there's a Safeway nearby. So what I did was I determined roughly where the center of the neighborhood is, and I figured out the distances to the following things and about how long it would take, according to Google, to get to those places. You can see those on the screen, but to give you an idea, there are a few main grocery stores. There's Safeway, there's a Fred Meyer. If you're coming into the Portland area from outside of the Portland area, Fred Meyer is owned by Kroger. Fred Meyer is way nicer in my opinion, but in any case, it's a large grocery store chain in this area. There's a Whole Foods just 1.1 miles away from the center of the King neighborhood. There's a New Seasons, and there's also a Natural Grocers. The Alberta Co-op on Alberta Street is just a couple of minutes away, 0.4 of a mile away from the center of the neighborhood. There's a Trader Joe's at about 3.5 miles away. The Alberta Market that I mentioned earlier is a little corner store. It's only about 1/10 of a mile away from the center of the neighborhood. If you travel for work, this is important, or if you're thinking about having friends and family members and so on fly in from outside of Portland to come visit you, You might want to know that the airport, the departures area or arrivals, either way, of the airport from the center of the King neighborhood is about 21 minutes driving during normal traffic conditions, not during rush hour. During rush hour, you might add 2 or 3 minutes because you actually take side streets to get there. It doesn't get too awfully congested to get to and from the airport even during rush hour. And to get to the center of Portland, which is at the middle of the Burnside Bridge right downtown over the Willamette River, it's about 3 miles away, and it takes about 10 minutes to get there. To have an idea too of what else you can do, if you have a dog, there's a Sabin Hydro Park where there's a dog play area. Some people I've seen, and I have too, we've taken our dogs to the King Elementary School, of course not during school hours. Contact us anytime if you want links to things such as the school district websites, information about the King neighborhood per se, these details and more about the King neighborhood that are in this video. Contact us. We can send you a PDF or point you in the right direction. Contact us anytime.